You are listening to the Bright Life Podcast, all about ways to stay inspired, chase your dreams, and find more gratitude in the highs and lows of the journey. I'm your host, Jessica Johnson. I'm a business owner, a part-time digital nomad, a self-growth junkie, a believer in other big-hearted women, and am all about sharing tips, tricks, lessons learned, and encouragement so we can all live our biggest, brightest lives. You ready? Let's do this. Hi, gorgeous. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be here with you today. So today's episode is all about a little hack for doing and taking action in the world. Now, chapter 4 of my brand new book, Your Bright Life, is all about doing as part of the creative process. So every single chapter walks you through another stage of how to bring your dreams to life. It starts out, as you've seen with these episodes, where we've been touching on one chapter the past few episodes, starts out with dreaming and creating this beautiful vision for your highest, most beautiful vision for your life. Goes into deciding, getting clear on which thing out of that you're going to tackle first. Then goes into embodying, you becoming this person who can hold a dream like that and become this person who achieves something of that nature. And then it's time to roll up your sleeves and get to work. And that brings us to doing. So if you haven't gotten the book yet, everything in this episode will be different than what's in the book. It's just a little spin-off, kind of like a remix, you know how musicians and rappers and all those cool people make those, whatever they're called. This is like the remix version where it's different from what's in the book, but it will just give you a little taste if you're interested. Okay, so let's talk doing. Wanted to share one life hack that can get you out of a funk. If you're feeling disgruntled, if you see someone on social media and you feel that ping of jealousy or like, must be nice, this will really help all of those scenarios. And it's so simple. It's to take action on whatever that thing that's triggering you is, to take one small action toward that thing in your own life. Because so often, the thing that we see that bothers us about someone else or their Instagram post or their TikTok or whatever it is often because it's something that on some level we desire more of, and either we think we can't have it, or we're not allowing ourselves to access that part of ourselves, or we are just kind of still in that deciding phase of like, can I do it? I'm shrinking back. I don't feel like I can have this thing. And so it's easier to see someone else and be like irritated by it versus to remember our own power and to take action in our lives. So whenever I see this, whenever I feel this feeling come up in myself, I first get really curious, and I almost get excited now because I have followed through with this formula and pattern enough times to know that there's something really juicy here for me and it's going to teach me something about myself. So if I see someone on Instagram and I feel that little triggered feeling, I say, ooh, okay, so what is it about this post that is maybe something that I want or wish I had or feel like I can't have? And I almost prove myself wrong then. So let's say it's something like travel. I used to see people who traveled, and now I get to be the one traveling. So, maybe you have felt this thing about me, like, must be nice that you're in Portugal right now. Or maybe you don't care at all, and then that's fine. There might not be a little like nugget in there, right? But I used to see people who traveled, and that's how I knew it was something I had to pursue, because I'd think, I want to be in Italy for summer, or I want to be eating pasta right now, or how do they do that? How do they get that freedom to build a business or to be their own boss? How do they do that thing? And, even little things like seeing someone go to a yoga class midday, I used to be like, how do they do that? And so what I eventually started doing, because I just learned it didn't feel that good to sit in that for that long, is I would say, okay, there's something in me that obviously wishes I could travel more like them or wants to be able to have a little bit more of that freedom and flexibility in my day. What is one small step I can take to give myself more of that? And so it could be as simple as going online and browsing flights and seeing what deals were out there so that I could go and plan a fun weekend with my girlfriends. Could have been something like researching online businesses and online courses. And as you all know, if you know my story, that is what led for me to be able to travel a lot more. It could be, just going and maybe making a Pinterest board of like your list of bucket list places and then committing to go to them maybe one every few years or something like that. Could even be saying, okay, what money do I have that I am currently spending on stuff that, is maybe like throwaway stuff, like a Target run turns into a little bit out of control. We've all done this. So could I transfer that $100 to my travel fund? If I don't get the fancy coffee, but I make coffee at home this month, could all that money go to my travel fund this month? And little things like that, I kid you not, will make the biggest difference. It will become like this switch where you can see those people, and instead of feeling like it's you versus them or them having something you want, you will feel like, I'm on the path too now. How fun for them, because I'm also on this path. I'm going to go travel in my own way. And you'll get curious in a different way about what they're doing, because now all of a sudden you'll see whatever they're doing and you'll be like, do they have like tips for me? Or, wow, they went to this amazing place. I'm going to add this to my list. Or, they got this flight deal. I wonder if I could look at that airline. And it becomes this whole different experience in your life. Can you see that? Of like, instead of it being the thing you can't have or the thing that's for them, but not for you, it becomes the thing that you are on the path for as well. So I even started to do this with business, where when I was still in my 9-to-5, I can think back to the people I used to follow, and I'd see their posts and be like, man, they got started so much before me, or how did they make this possible? I'm trying so hard and this thing isn't working or that thing's not working. And what I would do instead is I would start to shift and I'd say, okay, it seems like somewhere along their journey, they got a mentor. That will be my task for the day. I will go look up potential mentors, and then this month my action item will be to take action with one of them. Or I'd say, it seems like they're really good at email marketing. Maybe I'll go learn email marketing or copywriting, right? Like things like that. And I would give myself this little nugget of action that I could take. And I started to feel better every single time, because all of a sudden I was making movement in my life towards that thing that I wanted. And some of it worked, some of it didn't, but you know what? All of it added up to make something that did finally work. And all these little disjointed threads and strands eventually turned into something of just years of consistent added up effort that turned into a viable business. And so that's like the other piece of it. It doesn't even have to be this thing where you like do exactly what they do or emulate it perfectly, but just getting action and just getting out there and getting in front of people, all of that is going to add up to point you in the right direction. And it's certainly going to at least move you from where you are right now, right? It will at least create that forward action in your life. And step by step, that does add up to a major difference. You've heard me say before, that can walk you to your dream, right? Step by step, that can walk you to your dream. I heard Jay Shetty, who is a best-selling author and host of one of the most popular podcasts in the world, On Purpose, but he said we dream through other people. And I know a lot of times there's so much talk around jealousy being a negative thing and Instagram being a negative thing and creating all these false expectations and, the highlight reel and all that stuff. And what I like to do is, that is all true. So I always keep that in mind when I'm looking at Instagram, that that is the highlight reel. That's people putting what they want out for the world to see. And to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I know it can be used in a malicious way, but I actually, I get that, right? I get that we're not all going to air out our dirty laundry and negativity. And so I understand that people are putting what they want to put in the world out there. And I think in that way, it can be kind of beautiful, especially when it's used through that lens that Jay Shetty mentioned of use it as something where you can dream through other people. You'll never know their whole story, but just like this idea of using it to your advantage. So instead of Instagram being this thing that you go on and make you feel inferior, let it be like your vision board. Let it inspire you. Pull inspiration. Follow people that you love and admire and start to feel like you are cheering them on because you're also on that path, because you can be. Anyone who is further ahead than you, quote unquote, further ahead, is only ahead because they got started a little bit before you. They're not more special. They don't have things that you don't have. I mean, of course, it's not equal. We don't know what their connections or network or whatever is, but almost adopt this framework of it doesn't matter the resources because no one can touch your resourcefulness. No one can touch your ability to find a way, to find the humans, to get in touch, to get the resources, to just have that spirit of I can do this. There's nothing different about me. And if there is, it's in a good way. Okay, so that's kind of today's nugget is like when it comes to doing, when it comes to taking action, there's something in your life that you feel like you wish you had more of, or you hate that someone else has it, almost use that as this sign from your intuition saying, this is for me too. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't care about it. It wouldn't bother me. So if you're seeing that, that almost could be like this invite from your intuition to say, I see you caring about this. I know you do. I am bringing this up again so that you take action, so that you move forward to that dream that you want. I posted something on Instagram the other day that I'd been thinking about that just said, something I wish I would have known when I felt stuck in my career, craving more freedom and fulfillment, is that often the discomfort is the thing you will look back on one day as the hidden gift that finally made you leap to something better. So if that feels true for you, look at a situation, know it's just as much for you as it is for anyone else. Take one tiny step in the direction towards what you want, knowing that those little tiny steps have a way of adding up to an entirely different future and life. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you back here soon. Thank you so much for listening in. If you love this episode, I have 2 things you are going to love. One is a free copywriter training full of 5 steps to build a profitable copywriting business as your own boss, no matter how much experience you're starting with. Copywriting is what took me from a 9-to-5 to freedom as my own boss, to travel, choose my schedule, replace my corporate income, and have time to work on creative projects like this podcast. And I'd love to give other women the same opportunity. Another, of course, is my book, Your Bright Life. You can find it on Amazon or Audible, where I narrate the audiobook, so it's kind of like a podcast in book form. All of these things are in the podcast show notes. Thank you again for listening. I appreciate you and your review so much, and I'll see you back here next Thursday.